Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Picks. My name is Peter Loshak. Today is Friday, March 2nd. We've got UFC 222 coming up this weekend from Las Vegas. Of course, the main fight has Cris Cyborg as the featured fighter. Massive favorite. Much more competitive lines in the other fights. And we're going to analyze the main card from a betting and odds perspective, as we always do with our regular guest, Andreas Hale. Andreas Hale, thanks for coming back with us one more time.
Yeah, thanks for having me once again.
All right, Andreas, the main event, one of these MMA fights with a massive favorite here, justifiably, of course, Cris Cyborg, minus 1,500 over Kunitskaya at plus 1,000 on the other side. And, you know, I did actually see this one a little bit higher yesterday. It was up around minus 1,750, minus 1,800 a few days ago. So at least a little bit of money has been buying Kunitskaya at, plus 1,200 or something like that. That just might be money saying that no MMA fight ever should have this high of a favorite line. And of course, the total is predictably very low, 1.5 rounds. The under is minus 140. The over is plus 120. Obviously, everyone in the world and the market expecting an early finish from Cyborg, a first round knockout. Is there any reason to expect anything different? Maybe there is. What do you think, Andreas?
Well, Kunitskaya is actually an accomplished kickboxer. She's won championships in Muay Thai and I believe Taekwondo. So she's a solid kickboxer. Her ground game is questionable. She got submitted by Tanya Evinger, who Cyborg decimated in 3 rounds. So, but the thing is here is that Cyborg didn't get a knockout against Holly Holm, and I think that's what she wants to do at UFC 222 is to send home the fans happy with a finish of some sort. And it might be by submission. Granted, I don't see this thing lasting more than 7.5 minutes. I see this going under as well. And the line's not too bad. I think Cyborg is going to come out there to destroy her and prepare for Amanda Nunes for this summer.
All right, so of course we focus on the betting aspect of MMA here. Andreas Hale, is this fight bettable? Cyborg inside the distance right now is minus 515, and again, the under 1.5 rounds just minus 140.
We're going to have to take the under here. That inside the distance, you don't want to bet that. Stay away from that. But the under here is what you want to bet. Cyborg has something to prove here. She wants to get her out of there. She wants to send the fans home happy. Kunitskaya, she just showed up on the scene. She doesn't even have a picture on UFC.com. So she's here to get to be the lambs led to the slaughter. So I'd definitely take the under in this fight.
All right, you want to make that an official pick?
Absolutely.
Okay, under 1.5 rounds, currently at minus 140. We will see where that line closes if money comes in, betting it even lower. Then the next fight, an interesting one, right? Brian Ortega against Frankie Edgar. And Frankie Edgar, of course, was supposed to get a crack at Max Holloway. And when Holloway had to pull out, Edgar stuck around and maybe, really putting himself out here. This is a fight that he could lose. And it's one of those fights where if Edgar wins, is he really in a better position than he was before? Not necessarily. He gets a shot at the title. If he loses, does he get a shot at the title anyway? I don't know. Maybe they make him win another fight. So it's a little bit of a no-win situation for Edgar, but to his great credit, he took the fight anyway. And the market has been betting Brian Ortega down a little bit. He's a big underdog, but money has been coming in recently. A few days ago, Ortega was plus 155, now just plus 135. And on the other side, Frankie Edgar minus 155. A few days ago, minus 175. When I capped this fight, I thought that the fight going the distance might be a great bet. The fight is only scheduled for 3 rounds, of course. The over 2.5 rounds is currently minus 250, and that is headed up. It was a big favorite to open, and now it's just headed even higher. But I think maybe taking the over or the fight going the distance on the prop might be worth a shot. And as far as the side is concerned, I don't know. I'm not sure I'd want to take Edgar at minus 155. Ortega could easily win this one, couldn't he?
He could, but here's the thing. Frankie Edgar, he's had a prospect in front of him before by the name of Yair Rodriguez, and he made an example out of him.
Yeah.
Brian Ortega's never faced anybody like Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar is the guy who only loses in this division to Jose Aldo, which is kind of strange. But it's the only person he loses to. Aside from that, he's pretty much ran over everybody else. Uriah Faber, Chad Mendez. Ortega's a great fighter. He has a different skill set than Yair Rodriguez. He's excellent off his back with great jiu-jitsu. But you have to beat Frankie Edgar, and how do you do that? If it's not striking, I don't necessarily see how Ortega's going to win. Edgar's never been finished before. So I'm kind of surprised the line's being bet down. I know a lot of people see Brian Ortega as an undefeated fighter, and T said he's done a lot in his UFC tenure so far. But I like Frankie Edgar a lot here.
Really?
Again, he's got a motor that doesn't stop. He's a Hall of Fame fighter. I don't see him losing this fight.
All right, and you make the case that that Edgar hasn't lost to anyone except Jose Aldo in his career. He's also, of course, never been as old as he will be for this fight. He's going to be 36 at some point. We'll probably see a skills decline from him. Are you concerned that Edgar might be getting just a teeny bit long in the tooth, or you think that's still maybe a year or two away?
I think that's the Max Holloway fight away. That's when we'll find out Frankie Edgar is old. Until then, I don't think that the Brian Ortega is the guy that's going to expose him. I'd be surprised if he did. Again, I think you have to be a striker or something of that nature to get Frankie Edgar off of his game. And I don't think Ortega's got the tools to do so. And I don't think he can submit him. And that's Ortega's strong point is jiu-jitsu. So I like Edgar a lot. I don't think he gets old in this fight. I think he just continues to get better and puts another prospect back in his place.
All right, so the market, of course, expects this one to go the distance. The fight going the distance is minus 225. Again, it's headed up. I wanted to give that as an official pick, but the line is getting bet up. And Edgar by decision is minus 119, which is a little bit tempting here. So, Andreas Hale, do you want to make any official picks here? We got Edgar by decision at minus 119, Edgar just to win at minus 155. So the market not giving you much extra value by taking Edgar to win by decision. And the under is 2.5 plus 110, over 2.5 at minus 250. You want to make an official pick here, Andreas Hale?
My official pick is going to be Frankie Edgar at minus 150. One way or another, I think he's going to win this fight. Not sure exactly how, but I think he just gets it out.
All right, minus 155 is the current lineup for Frankie Edgar. And I think that, just before I make my decision here, because it is now a pretty, if this was down in the minus 100 still, I would give the fight going the distance as a pick. But now that it's up to minus 225, I want to get just another opinion, Andreas Hale. Could we see a finish here?
We could. Again, Ortega's never faced anybody like Frankie Edgar, and Ortega's also got great jiu-jitsu. You can't completely put it out of the question that he catches Frankie Edgar in something. Highly unlikely, but it's very possible. Just the line is a little bit too dramatic on both sides for me to make it an official pick there.
All right, I will think about that one a little bit more while we do the rest of this main card. Next fight on the card, an interesting one. Two hot prospects who like to strike, Sukumtat and Sean O'Malley. The line was pretty competitive a few days ago and just getting close to pick 'em now. Sukumtat right now is minus 120. O'Malley on the other side plus 100. And the market believing that a finish here is very reasonable. The under 2.5 rounds is minus 120. The over 2.5 rounds is plus 100. Sukumtat is, obviously a bit older and more experienced than O'Malley. I'm not sure I really want to bet against either of these guys. What's your take on this one, Andreas?
I feel like Sean O'Malley's been put in that Sage Northcutt, Paige Van Zandt spot where he's here to shine and he could lose. We're not really sure, what O'Malley has. He looked great on the Contender Series. He looked great on the Ultimate Fighter finale when he fought there. And Sukumtat's a guy who has been beat. He has been finished before. So this is O'Malley in a great spot, but does he burn under the lights? That's the question. And for that reason, I got to stay away from this fight. I need to see a little bit more out of O'Malley. And Sukumtat is a tough guy, and tough guys usually do away with prospects. They make them work hard. You look at Sage Northcutt. He's a prospect. He gets in there with guys who make him work hard, and sometimes he loses. O'Malley could be in the same spot here. So I'd rather just prefer to sit back and watch this fight and look at the future than bet on it because I really don't know what's going to happen here.
Yeah, I agree with you. And not only do we not know what's going to happen, but both guys are kind of impressive in general, so I don't really feel comfortable betting against either one of them. Could easily see this one going to distance or a finish, so I'm not going to touch the total either. Pass for me as well. And then Stefan Struve against Andrei Arlovski. Of course, always an interesting fight when Stefan Struve is involved. Struve, obviously an imposing figure. Can get finished, has his heart problems, can get knocked out at times. And Arlovski, a lot of people had him written off a couple fights ago. I had him half written off as well, but he did get a win against Albini, and I don't remember what my official pick on that was, but I think I might have picked against Arlovski in that one. Arlovski got a win. Now he's going up against Struve. Arlovski is an underdog, not a huge one, though. Struve minus 175. Arlovski on the other side is plus 155. Market also expecting an early finish here. The 1.5 rounds is minus 120. I'm not totally sure that I would agree with that I think it's that likely to finish so quickly. Maybe I could see this one. I could see this one going the distance, especially if if Struve slows the fight down and if Arlovski is extremely cautious and agrees to that kind of a pace. We could see a boring fight here that goes the distance. I could see over 1.5 rounds at minus 120 being a pick here. And as far as who's going to win this fight, Struve is far from perfect, but Arlovski's just so vulnerable. I don't know if I could bet him at plus 155. I guess my leans, before I hear what you have to say, Andreas Hale, leans would have to be Struve minus 175 and the over at minus 120. Interesting matchup, though, here.
It is. It is. Stefan Struve is a guy who's kind of grown into his body. He came into the UFC when he was 20. He was tall. He was lanky. Now he's a little bit fuller. I think he walks around at like 280 pounds. He's a giant. But he has had his health issues in the past, and he's been knocked out before by guys like Mark Hunt. That being said, though, I think he's got a great ground game, and he's a long striker, and I think these are recipes for disaster for Andrei Arlovski. My problem here is the line. I think the line is a little bit too wide for Struve for me to like. It's a lean for me as well. And the under, I mean, I'm not so sure about that. Struve is not a guy who just runs out there and tries to knock people out. Arlovski is, but I don't think he catches Struve. That being said, I lean a little heavier towards the over here than anything else, but I can't make an official pick on this one.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. That Arlovski, yeah, I mean, pressuring Struve is the way to beat him, but just running right at him. But Arlovski's got to know how vulnerable he has been in his recent fights, and I'm guessing will be at least a little bit conservative here in the early going. That's the way I'm thinking as well. But you don't like that enough to make an official pick at -120?
Nah, I don't. It's scary with Stefan Struve, man. He's got all the talent in the world. He's a big guy. He's a long guy. If he uses his reach, he can make this an easy night. But he tends to make nights harder than they should be. So this might be one of those nights.
All right. I will do it. I'll make the over 1.5 rounds just at -120 an official pick. If it was higher than that, in the -160s or 170s, I wouldn't do it. But at just -120, I'll take a shot with it. I'll make Arlovski and Struve going over 1.5 rounds at -120 an official pick. And then let's move on to women's bantamweight fight, the return of Cat Zingano, right, against Vieira, who is a dangerous fighter. And the market is certainly reflecting that. Vieira is now a pretty big favorite at -190. Zingano on the other side, +165. Vieira's looked very impressive. Vieira is younger. Zingano has questions of ring rust, but Vieira has proven herself, right? I mean, she jumped into the top 5. She beat Sarah McMahon, so she is clearly the real deal. Zingano is no slouch. A lot of questions involving what exact condition Zingano is going to be in here. I don't know. Do you think this is another situation where a grizzled, talented veteran is getting a little bit too disrespected by the market, too quick to make a youngster a big favorite here? Right now, Vieira -190, Zingano +165 on the other side.
Absolutely. I think it's almost bizarre that Cat Zingano's this big of an underdog here against Vieira. Look, Vieira beat Sarah McMahon. Sarah McMahon is not a world beater. Let's be honest here. The women's bantamweight division is very thin. It's top heavy, and McMahon isn't in the top. Zingano, yes, she lost to Ronda Rousey. Yes, she lost to Juliana Pena, but she beat the champ, Amanda Nunes. She's beaten Miesha Tate. She has excellent ground and pound. She has great jiu-jitsu. She's a little older, but I think her being out away from fighting has preserved her a little bit. I think Vieira shouldn't be this big of a favorite. I don't think she should be the favorite at all. I'm kind of blown away by this. So I like Cat Zingano a lot here. This is my pick for sure. I'm picking Cat Zingano. I think she's too good, too diverse, too well-rounded, and I think she finds a way to win this fight and shows all the odds makers, all the naysayers, that she's the real deal.
So this reminds me just like of your analysis of the Leona Machida fight. There were some reasons to be doubting Machida in general, but the market obviously way overreacted to that, made Machida a big underdog, which he shouldn't have been. Not saying he should have been the favorite, but clearly too big of an underdog. And you feel the same way here. You actually feel that Zingano should at least be a coin flip, if not Zingano a small favorite?
Yeah, absolutely. A coin flip at the worst. Look, Vieira, again, she beat Sarah McMahon, but you look at her other fights. She's won a split decision. She's lost rounds before. She's not perfect. And I just can't see how she should be a significant favorite over Cat Zingano. I guess the market just looks at her like Leona Machida says she's old and washed up. Yeah. She's not. She lost to 2 of the top people in the division. She hasn't lost to anybody else that's on the bottom rung of that division. So I can't see why this isn't at least a coin flip. So again, it's a lot for me. I got to take Cat Zingano here.
All right, the current line is +165, and that has gotten bet up a little bit. A great preview of the main card. Andreas Hale, once again, Andreas Hale making an official pick with the under in the Cris Cyborg fight at -140. The Edgar and Ortega fight is going to be a pass for me, but Andreas Hale going with Frankie Edgar currently at -155. Sukmantat at O'Malley is a pass for both of us. Arlovski and Struve, pass for Andreas Hale. I'm taking a shot with over 1.5 rounds at -120, and very interesting analysis from Andreas Hale on the Zingano-Vieira fight. Andreas Hale seeing solid value with Zingano as a big underdog, currently +165. Awesome breakdown. As always, Andreas Hale. Talk to you again very soon.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.